علينا أسود العرين نمضي أماما أبد لا نلين عهدا علينا أسود العرين نمضي أماما أبد لا نلين
حتى إذا حان النفير عدنا جنودا نلبي المسير.
Let's explore the Battle of Qadisiyyah, or معركة القادسية, that happened between the Muslims and the Persian Sassanids. Before the Battle of Qadisiyyah, before we even start to dive into this battle, we need to know about the events that happened before. There were many battles that the Muslims fought against the Sassanids. Khalid ibn al-Walid commanded many of these confrontations, such as al-Walajah, Nahr al-Dam, and the opening of the capital city of the Arab region of Iraq, al-Hira, and these battles finalized the conquest of Iraq before, of course, the siege of Ctesiphon. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the Khalifa, then sent Khalid ibn al-Walid before he was planning, after all of these battles, to open the city of Ctesiphon. Khalid ibn al-Walid received a letter from Abu Bakr as-Siddiq telling him to move to the Sham, or the Levant region, the Syrian provinces. This would halt the plan of Khalid ibn al-Walid to siege the capital city of the Sassanid Empire, Ctesiphon, or in Arabic known as Madain. Khalid ibn al-Walid would leave Muthanna ibn Haritha to command the armies in Iraq, because Muthanna ibn Haritha did not have enough forces to remain in control of al-Hira. He actually retreated to the south of Iraq and receded these lands. When Umar ibn al-Khattab became the Khalifa, he sent reinforcements to al-Muthanna under Abu Ubaid, and Abu Ubaid was told, he was commanded by Umar ibn al-Khattab to take command of Muthanna's army. The Muslim army was able to recapture al-Hira. However, the Muslims, they suffered their first loss at the Battle of the Bridge, when the Sassanid Shah sent an army for the first time using elephants that came from India. The Muslims had never fought an army before that had elephants. When the Muslim army under Abu Ubaid and al-Muthanna ibn Haritha faced the Sassanid army at the Battle of the Bridge, their horses became disorganized and they fled. Fortunately though, al-Muthanna ibn Haritha was able to save half of the Muslim army after Abu Ubaid became a martyr. An alliance in the year 635 with the Byzantine Emperor Heraclius between the Sassanid Shah, Yazdegerd III. The goal of this alliance, they wanted to focus on the Muslims. They wanted to stop the fighting between them. Umar ibn al-Khattab knew that a new army had to be raised in order to confront the Sassanids effectively. During this time, there were many small skirmishes between the Sassanids and the Muslims after Abu Ubaid was defeated. Umar ibn al-Khattab appointed Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas. Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas is one of the Ashra Mubashirin min al-Jannah, one of the 10 promised Jannah by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sa'ad was one of the earliest converts to Islam. The appointment of Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas was a very strategic military tactic. Umar ibn al-Khattab did this to have unity in the Muslim army. Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas was given 4,000 men, and where he departed from his camp at Sisra near Medina. Umar ordered Sa'ad to stop the army when he reached the city of Qadisiyyah, which was 30 miles outside the city of Kufa. As a result of the small number of men that Umar was able to raise, he decided to use men from the tribes that had previously rebelled against Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. What does this mean? The tribes that had fought Abu Bakr as-Siddiq in the Muslim armies under Khalid ibn al-Walid in the Hurub Ridda, or in the wars of apostasy. These tribes had rebelled against the Muslim Empire, revoking their allegiance to Islam and declaring war against Abu Bakr. However, most of these tribes had reconverted to Islam, or had come back to the fold of Islam. In addition, Umar ibn al-Khattab sent 5,000 men to Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas that were veterans of معركة al-Yarmouk, or the Battle of Yarmouk, and we covered the Battle of Yarmouk in full detail in the previous video if you want to check it out. The Sassanian army, they reached the city of Qadisiyyah in July of 636. They established their camps along the Atiq River. The only crossing of the river was through a narrow bridge, and this is going to play a huge part in the battle coming up. The Sassanian force comprised of 60,000 men. They had categories of infantry, heavy cavalry, and an elephant division. The elephants had come from the lands of Hindustan or India. The Sassanians had 33 elephants in the animal corps. The infantry and cavalry were divided into 4 contingents. Rostam, a Sassanian noble, was the overall commander of the army. He set Hormuzan as the general of the right wing, and the left wing was commanded by another Persian noble or Sassanian noble, Pirozan. The Muslim army had 36,000 men. After receiving reinforcements from Sham, they had 7,000 cavalry, with being the rest infantry. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas during this time was suffering from boils on his skin. So, to have a commander on the field, he set Khalid ibn Urufta as his deputy commander. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas started sending messengers to the Sassanid Shah, Yazid III, and to the commander of the Sassanid army. He invited them to convert to Islam and to stop this battle. The negotiations between the two sides took place for 3 months. Nu'man ibn Muqarran was sent by Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas to the Sassanid Shah Yazid III, telling him to pay the jizya tax, and the battle would not start. This mission did not succeed, as Yazid III refused. An interesting story that has been recorded in the books of history was a negotiation that happened between the former commander of the Battle of the Chains and Al-Walija under Khalid ibn Walid. This former commander was Asim ibn Amr. He was sent to the Sassanid Shah by Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. Yazid III, he wanted to humiliate the Muslims, still thinking that he has some pride against the Muslims, even despite being defeated in every single battle that took place. Yazid III, he wanted to humiliate the Muslim envoy by giving him a basket of soil. Asim ibn Amr took it as a humorous reply. He interpreted it as that the Sassanid Shah was surrendering the land to the Muslims. Umar ibn al-Khattab then ordered for the negotiations to stop. He wanted the battle to continue. However, more talks were held between Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas and Rostam, in the form of Rabi' ibn Amr and Mughira ibn Zuharrad. They went to the Sassanid camps to hold talks, telling Rostam to pay the jizya, to convert to Islam, or to continue the battle. Rostam ordered for the battle to start. On the first day of the battle, both armies were 500 meters away from each other. It's not a very far distance. Asim ibn Amr, he spoke words of advice, telling the Muslims, you are superior to them, and God is with you, and Allah is with you. The battle started with Mubarazah. In the books of history, many of the Byzantine Sassanids and Muslim wars, they begin with Mubarazah or dueling, and where most of the victories, in this case in the battle of Qadisiyyah, the victories came from the Muslim side. The Persians, seeing this, Rostam ordered an attack of his left wing to attack the Muslim right wing. While this was happening, he ordered for a barrage of arrows to be thrown at the Muslims. The Persians did heavy damage to the Muslim right wing. Elephants were charging at the Muslim wing. The right wing commander Abdullah ibn Mut'im ordered for Jarir ibn Abdullah to deal with the Sassanid elephants. Jarir was unsuccessful, and the Muslim right wing started to fall back. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas knew he had to do a course of action to counter the Sassanid elephants. He ordered an As'af ibn Qais to check the Sassanid cavalry and attack the elephants. A reinforced infantry charge led by Hamid ibn Malik allowed for the Muslim right wing to start pushing the Sassanians back. Rostam, seeing this, then sent a word to his center and right wing to attack the Muslim center and left wing. Sa'd ordered Asim ibn Amr to overcome the elephants on this side and repulse the attack. Asim ordered the Muslim archers to kill the elephant riders in the order to be able to overcome them. This caused the Muslims to counterattack. When this counterattack happened, the Persian line started to fall back. The Muslim army went on a cavalry charge. They ordered their horses full front at the Sassanid army. The day ended, however, with both sides withdrawing to their camps, and the result of the battle was to be inconclusive. The first day is known by many Muslim historians as Yawm al-Armath, or the Day of Disorder. On the second day, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas ordered the Muslim champions to duel the Persians. The purpose of this is Sa'd knew there were reinforcements coming from Al-Qa'qa' ibn Amr and the Hashim ibn Utbah. Eventually, when the duels were happening at noon time, at Dhuhr time, Al-Qa'qa' ibn Amr came and reinforced the Muslim army. Then after him, another contingent of Muslim riders and infantry came with Hashim ibn Utbah and reinforced the Muslims. On this day, Al-Qa'qa' ibn Amr was able to kill a Persian general, Ba'aman Jutu'ayn, and if you go back to the video on the Battle of Qadisiyyah, you would see that Yazgir III had set up a whole royal army of 30,000 soldiers under him one time. However, it was defeated in the Battle of the Bridge. Sa'd ordered for all the sides of the Muslim army to go for a full frontal attack. Al-Qa'qa' ibn Amr had the idea of making war machines out of camels. He thought that since the Persians had their elephants, he needed to have his own war machines. He decided to use camels. The purpose of this was to scare the Persian horses. This would cause disorder and a decrease in morality for the Persian Sassanian soldiers. Qa'qa' tried to charge at the Sassanian army to kill the commander Rostam. However, his attack was repulsed. The day ended with both forces withdrawing. On the third day, Rostam, seeing that all of his attacks had failed, he ordered a full frontal attack with the recovered elephants. The Muslims fell back under this attack. Rostam ordered to take advantage of this for the palace that Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas was staying in to be captured and for him to be killed. He thought that if they could kill the Muslim general, that the Muslims would lose cohesion. The Muslim cavalry contingent was alert to this attack and was able to successfully repulse it. Sa'd ordered for the elephants to be mutilated in order for them to stop causing havoc. The elephants were a big deal. They were causing a lot of problems for the Muslim horses and infantry. When the elephants were attacked, the Sassanid corps in charge of the animals charged through the river. This caused many casualties among the Sassanid lines as the elephants stampeded towards the river without much thought. This caused confusion and decrease in morale for the Sassanian troops. By the end of this day, both of the sides, the Muslims and the Sassanians, they returned to their camp. Muslim chroniclers, they called this night as Laylat al-Harir, or the night of rumbling noises, or the night of retreat. On the last day of the battle, it is known that the Sassanian commander Rostam, the overall commander of the army, was killed. However, there are multiple scenarios on how he died. It's very interesting, these multiple stories or multiple scenarios given by different Muslim historians. The first scenario, that is the one that's most accepted, is Al-Qa'qa' and his men charged to the headquarters of Rostam during a sandstorm. In the cover of the storm, they were able to charge at Rostam and kill him. This caused a decrease in morale among the Sassanians to the point that their lines crashed and collapsed. The second point, or the second story or scenario, is given by At-Tabari in his book Tarikh At-Tabari, the history of the kings. He says that one of the Muslim men named Hilal ibn Ulafa, a Muslim soldier, he cut off the girdle of the camel that was carrying all the heavy weaponry. They used to carry their weaponry and the camels and the horses in a girdle or a bag. These weapons then flew in the sandstorm to hit Rostam. Hilal found Rostam almost dead, and then he beheaded him, saying, وَبِرَبِّ الْكَعْبَةِ, and by the Lord of the Kaaba I have killed Rostam. Now this narrative has been questioned as some of the language is not aligned with the language at that time. The famous Abbasi historian, the famous Abbasid historian Al-Yaqubi, says that Dirar ibn al-Aswar and Tulayha ibn Khuwaylid, if you remember Tulayha ibn Khuwaylid, he was the one that had a war of apostasy with Khalid ibn Walid. However, he later converted to Islam. He found the body of Rostam after the battle ended. Another account, which is weak, says that Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas killed Rastam himself, but Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas was dealing with boils in his skin and had deputy commanders of Khalid ibn Walafa and Al-Qaqqa ibn Amr in the field. So there's a low chance that this happened. On the last day, the Sassanid forces, or day 4, the Sassanid forces collapsed under heavy infantry and heavy cavalry charges from a Muslim. In addition, they had a huge loss of morale when they found out that their commander died. The battle concluded with a Muslim victory. There are many points to derive from this battle. The first point is that this battle finalized the conquest of most of Iraq. It would then pave the way for the foundations of the siege of the Ctesiphon, or Madain, the Sassanian capital. This finally ended the skirmishes that were happening between the Sassanians and the army under Muthanna ibn Haritha after the Battle of the Bridge. If you liked this video, please give it a like, a share, subscribe to the channel. It all means a lot. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time.
ويبعث فينا يقينا جديد فيوم الشهادة نصر مجيد. ويبعث فينا يقينا جديد فيوم الشهادة نصر مجيد. جند الله جند الله جند الله جند الله. أبدا لن نحيد أبدا لن نحيد عن خطى الإيمان. دربنا درب قويم دربنا درب قويم بالهدى القرآني. سائر في طريق الحق يا جند الله سائر في طريق الحق يا جند الله. جند الله جند الله جند الله جند الله.